Right now, if you search Blake Lively's name online, you are going to drown in headlines, lawsuits, PR drama, internet pylons. And look, we are not touching any of that today. Because here's the thing nobody seems to want to do actually evaluate her as an actress, not as a celebrity, not as a public figure, not as a tabloid story, just as a performer, frame by frame, role by role. So let's do it properly. Let's run an honest career audit on Blake Lively. No halo, no agenda, no noise. Blake Lively grew up on film sets. Her father was an actor and director. Her mother was a talent agent who ran acting classes. She literally absorbed this craft from childhood. Her film debut came in 1998 in a small role in her father's film, Sandman. She was 10 years old. Her real breakout, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants in 2005. Warm, charming, effortlessly likable. Critics noticed. Then came Gossip Girl in 2007, 6 seasons. She was Serena van der Woodsen, the it girl of the Upper East Side, beautiful, magnetic, aspirational. And here's where it gets interesting, because that role was both the best and worst thing to happen to her career. Best, it made her a household name. Worst, it typecast the hell out of her. For the better part of a decade, audiences and studio executives looked at Blake Lively and saw Serena, not an actress, a face, but she kept pushing. And the results? Actually more interesting than you'd expect. Let's start with what she demonstrably does well. The Town, 2010. This is, objectively, her best dramatic performance. Directed by Ben Affleck, Lively plays Krista, a young mother caught between poverty and a life of crime. A woman who is reckless, self-destructive, achingly real. She is gritty in this role. She is raw. There is zero glamour, and she leans into it completely. Esquire magazine called her the most promising and interesting and talented young actress of that year. That is not fan hype. That is critics seeing something real. The Shallows, 2016. This film is a masterclass in physical, survival genre performance. Lively is on screen virtually the entire film, often alone, often in water, often with only a seagull and a shark for company. She carries it. A bad actress would make this laughable. She makes it genuinely tense. The Shallows works because Blake Lively makes you care about this woman in the first 15 minutes. That is not easy to do. A Simple Favor, 2018. This is arguably her most fun performance. And fun, done right, is a legitimate skill. Playing the mysterious, razor-sharp Emily Nelson opposite Anna Kendrick, Lively is all controlled chaos. Menacing, seductive, darkly comedic, utterly unpredictable. Sometimes, within the same scene, she matches Kendrick beat for beat. That is genuinely impressive. Bottom line on her strength, strong screen presence. Physically committed. Best when directors push her away from her natural glamour. And she owns a very specific register. The cool, stylish, slightly dangerous woman. Better than almost anyone working today. Now, the honest part. Because a real career audit is not a highlight reel, so let's talk about the gaps. Range is limited. Look at her best roles. The Town, The Shallows, A Simple Favor. They all share a common thread. Strong, physical, and external anchoring. She is a performer who works outward, through posture, expression, charisma, presence. What she has not yet demonstrated convincingly is deep internalized emotional complexity. The kind of layered, subtle, inward work you'd associate with, say, Kate Blanchett or Viola Davis. When roles demand that kind of emotional excavation, Lively's performances can feel slightly surface level. She is also notoriously selective about roles. She goes years between films. That is a personal choice, arguably a reasonable one, but it means she has not built the kind of dense, varied body of work that reveals a performer pushing themselves year after year. Compare that to someone like Charlize Theron, who relentlessly threw herself into diverse, often unflattering roles to prove range. Lively hasn't done that. And here's perhaps the most honest critique. Blake Lively has sometimes seemed more invested in being Blake Lively, the fashion, the brand, the image, than in disappearing into characters. The greatest actors vanish. When you're watching Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice, you forget it's Meryl Streep. With Lively, even in her best performances, you are always somewhat aware that you are watching Blake Lively. That is a ceiling, and it is a real one. So, where does Blake Lively actually land when you strip away everything except the work? She is a legitimately above average AC.